Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast. I'm Joey Dwyer, and about a week ago, it felt like Vanderbilt had kind of done what it was going to do in the front court. A week later, though, we found out that isn't the case. Today, Vanderbilt got a commitment from Tasos Kamateros, the South Dakota big man, really out of nowhere. We had heard just yesterday about a potential visit that had happened with Kamateros and Vanderbilt, but really hadn't heard who else was involved in the recruitment. Really hadn't heard much about that recruitment at all. And today, a commitment pops and Vanderbilt gets better in the front court. It got Lubin a week ago, has Lee Dort already, and now adds a veteran big man who adds another dimension to this offense and this team in general. Is a guy who can really step out and shoot it. He's physical, has a few nice go-to post moves. I don't know if he's going to be your Liam Robbins or anything like that, and I think Lubin still has a really nice chance to start for this team, but Kamateros is going to add a nice dimension that the two other bigs really don't. Lubin, I think, is the better shooter of the two and the more far along offensive guy. And Kamateros makes Lubin look like a guy who can't shoot at all. Lubin shot just 11 threes last year. Kamateros shot 4 a game, over 4 a game at 40% efficiency. So that's the thing that really stands out to you. It's a 6'8" big, maybe plays the 5, maybe goes down to the 4 a little bit. But that guy can really shoot it, and he can add another dimension to this Vanderbilt offense that the other two bigs don't give it. I think Lubin can shoot a little bit better than he shot it at Notre Dame, and I think he has a little bit more on the perimeter, but Kamateros is far and away a better shooter than the other two, can really be valuable as a pick and pop guy, and I think also he's kind of a savvy guy around the rim, isn't going to be a huge contributor as a post threat most likely, but it's a guy who can go get you a bucket down there here or there, maybe off the roll, will give you a nice layup here or there, but is a really nice complementary piece and a guy who adds a nice dimension to this offense that it doesn't have with the two athletic young bigs. Kamateros isn't the athletes those guys are, doesn't have the agility of those guys or the shot blocking capabilities. I think he might struggle a little bit defensively, but man, can he shoot it. And I think he adds a lot offensively. He's not just a catch and shoot guy from 3 either. I think it's a guy who can go down the paint, make a move here or there off 1 or 2 bounces in the post, maybe catch it on the dunker's post and lay it up, maybe dunk it here or there. But that's a guy who is going to be a nice veteran presence in that front court which Vanderbilt didn't have. And I think you're missing that with Quentin Millora-Brown leaving. Now you get it back, and I think you get a better offensive contributor than Millora-Brown would have been. And it's a guy who I think is going to do some nice things for this team. I would still tend to think that Lubin would start for this team. They're both 6'8", both a little undersized. Dort's the more true 5 in terms of height. And I think Lubin gives them more as a total package, as a rebounder, although Kamateros averaged 6 rebounds a game, which I hadn't even got to. This is a guy who's physically built. He's a man, as some college coaches would say. He's not a kid, he's a man, and will be playing his 5th season of college basketball this year. And I think he can really compete on the glass. I think he can really do some things that veterans do for you and can help those two athletic bigs along and maybe take some of the pressure off those guys. Lubin probably shouldn't be your only option in the front court. He was for Notre Dame last year. I think Dort can help them a little bit as well. So I think your higher upside guys are Lubin and Dort, but Kamateros is going to give you some good things. He's going to rebound. He's going to probably shoot it at a high level. And I think he will be a nice piece of this team, probably a rotational guy, and this team badly needed depth, especially on the wings and in the front court. I think the guard play is just fine, especially if they get Tyron Lawrence back, but man, what a week would this be if they got Lubin about just a week ago, get Tyron, and get Kamateros. That's a heck of a week for Vanderbilt and the program that didn't seem like it had tournament life a few weeks ago before the Lawrence rumors started popping. Now has a very real shot at it. It's a complete group. If they get Lawrence back, it's a team that I think has some unproven depth but has high upside on that bench as well. So Kamateros gives you maybe some more proven depth. I don't know that he's going to be a guy who translates into a double-digit scorer in the SEC. What concerns me a little bit is this past season they played Wisconsin, had 6 points in, 28 minutes, and played Mississippi State with a bunch of athletic guys. That's an SEC team, had 3 points, and wasn't overly efficient in that game, I think in 27 minutes. So it tells you something that he's playing those minutes because in his junior year at South Dakota had 2.7 fouls a game, cut it down to 1.4 his last season, but overall, I think Kamateros, his availability is going to be good. He's going to give you some good things in terms of rebounding, in terms of shooting, in terms of maybe being a post threat who, I don't know, is Liam Robbins-esque, but is going to be reliable here or there, has some more savvy moves around the rim, isn't going to be like Dwyer, who's going to catch alley-oops, or Lubin, who's going to play above the rim, but he's going to do some good things for you on the block, and he's going to do some really nice things on the perimeter, including passing. And I think that's probably the part of his game that I was surprised about the most. A lot of those mid-major bigs do this really well, but Kamateros passes it really, really well. And I don't know that you see that very often for a guy at the Power 5 level like that. Averaged 1.7 assists per game, and when he draws a double, which I'm sure won't happen as much at Vanderbilt because the bigs will be more capable of defending, and it's not a team in South Dakota's league. But if a double comes, the possession doesn't end there in the post. It ends on the perimeter, or the ball gets swung out and back into the post. The possessions don't stop with Kamateros, and I think that's a really valuable skill to have and a really nice thing to have for a guard-driven team like this with Ezra Manjon and Tyron Lawrence, and if they get Tyron Lawrence. And then the other two guys on the perimeter with Taylor and Smith can really shoot it as well. So this is a guy who may not be your dominant low-post guy, but he's going to be able to pass it really well. He's going to rebound really well. He's going to shoot it really well. And I think he adds another dimension, like I said, to that front court. I think there are concerns, though. Like I said, defensively, I think I'm a little bit concerned there, a little undersized at 6'8". And Vanderbilt Lubin, I think I'm less concerned about at 6'8" because he's more athletic, maybe not quite as physical, but he is physical. He's mobile. Kamateros is a guy who's going to play more in drop coverage. He's not going to be a great shot blocker. That concerns me a little bit at the SEC level when you think about the bigs he's going to have to face. Tolu Smith, maybe Oscar Sheboy, guys like that are going to give him a hard time, I think. Maybe not as much Sheboy. I think he'd be a better defender of Sheboy than some of the other more athletic bigs, but he's going to be a guy who's going to have to scratch and claw to get stops defensively. And I think the other two will give them more on that end and may give them more in general, even if Kamateros is the leading scorer in that front court group, which I'm not sure will happen. I think there's a real chance that does happen, but he's going to be a rotational big. You're going to have to pick your spots with him, though, in terms of the games he plays big minutes. He played, I think, 28 minutes a game at South Dakota. Probably not going to happen at Vanderbilt, but he can really give you some spot minutes. He can give your offense another dimension. He's probably the best. I would probably say he's the best offensive big that Vanderbilt has. I think Lubin has a much higher ceiling, but still has a ways to go in terms of being your dominant low block guy. I don't know that Kamateros is that, but he's more of a versatile offensive threat than the other two guys, and I think he's more experienced and kind of can fit into a role well from day one. So it's going to benefit him having Ezra Manjon, but the jump up in the league is going to be tough for him, I think. And I don't know that he'll be the starter every night. I think ideally what you'd want in that front court, it's kind of like last year where if Liam Robbins is the starter and he's giving you good minutes, and he's playing more than Quentin Malora-Brown, you have something in this roster. Malora-Brown's fine, and I think Malora-Brown gave Vanderbilt some good things last year, but you really wanted Robbins. It's the high ceiling guy. I think it's the same this year. If Dwyer and Vanderbilt and Lubin are playing big minutes, that they've come along, and that those guys are going to, if they're playing more minutes than Kamateros is, says good things about those guys, and their ceilings are much higher. But I think this is a nice safety blanket in case those guys aren't ready to give you huge minutes, and a guy who adds a veteran presence, adds rebounding, is a heck of a passer. I think it's probably their best true offensive big, while the other two, I think, are a bit better defensively, fit with what Vanderbilt wants to do a little bit more defensively. But it's a nice gift for Jerry Stackhouse, and I think one that he certainly thinks he can work with. Anytime you have a guy with his passing ability, with his shooting ability, who's willing to come and compete with Vanderbilt, Lubin, and Dwyer, it's a nice get. And I think Vanderbilt fans should be really excited with how this team's coming together. I don't know if it's NCAA tournament or bust yet, but man, it's getting close. And I don't know if we thought we'd be there a few weeks ago. So heck of a week for Vanderbilt if they can get Tyron Lawrence, and a pretty solid week regardless with getting Vanderbilt, Lubin, and Kamateros. So thank you guys for watching. We'll have more coverage on Kamateros throughout the offseason. Frankly, I was at my other job and did not get to do this as quickly as I wanted to, but we'll have more on his game and how he fits in once I get to watch some more tape, and we'll certainly have more on the Tyron Lawrence recruitment and what it means for Vanderbilt if Vanderbilt can close the deal there. So thank you guys for watching. God bless, and stay tuned to the site, to the message board, and hear for more content. God bless. Peace.